I am Carmeon Hamilton, and if you knew anything about me before this morning, it's likely that you knew me as the girl from HGTV, which, yes, being on two HGTV shows and now shooting a third, has afforded me opportunities just like this one. However, I am not just the girl with a magnetic personality and lightning bolt smile that can make things look pretty. Now, as someone in the public eye and with a very subjective career, I'm often asked the question, what sets me apart from other designers? And it wasn't until very recent years that I realized it was my insatiable curiosity around the science of interior design. Yes, the science of interior design. More specifically, the psychology of design. Something one may not deem as pretty, but it's actually quite beautiful when you think about it. As a matter of fact, I have an experiment, okay? Everybody close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I want you to visualize yourself standing in your absolute favorite place in the world. It can be anywhere. Your favorite vacation destination, down to the plastic lounge chair on the beach with your favorite book. It can be your grandmother's kitchen while she's making cornbread. That's my favorite. It can be your bed with your 1,000-count Egyptian cotton sheets. Doesn't matter. Visualize it. How do you feel? What do you smell? What emotions come flooding in when you visualize yourself there? Are you there? All right, now open your eyes. Feeling a little warm and fuzzy inside? Maybe even loved? I hope that for all of you, okay? Because there's a part 2 of this experiment. Close your eyes again. But this time I want you to visualize yourself in a very specific location. Imagine standing in the middle of the Department of Motor Vehicles. Yes, the DMV. Uh-huh. How's the lighting? What are the sounds you hear? What does it smell like? How do you feel as a human being standing in the DMV? Okay, come back. You don't have to stay there long. Okay. Now, do you feel just a little bit different from how you felt about your favorite place in the world? Of course you do. Because the truth of the matter is, our environments are the greatest influence on how we feel, how we behave and interact with each other, and how we see ourselves. Combine that with the fact that human beings spend 90% of their existence indoors, and you begin to realize just how important our environments really are. Now, this is something I've been keenly aware of for quite some time, especially as a designer, because I've seen this happen firsthand with spaces that I've created for clients. Their lives are changed for the better simply because they feel better in these new spaces. But when it came time to do this talk, I felt like I needed to do some research to back up what I was feeling with some facts. So humans have a hierarchy of needs, right? So they range from the physiological, things like food, air, water, shelter, and sleep, to things like safety and security, the need for esteem, or even self-actualization. But what I found incredibly intriguing, and still to this day, is how different two people can be when these exact same needs are met simply from being in two different physical environments. Now, I come from a long line of educators, a long line. My mom, her mom, my grandmother, and her mom, my great-grandmother, were all grade school teachers. So in honor of them, we're going to take school classrooms as our sample environment for today. And along with that, we're going to take 2 8th grade boys as our human subjects for the day. We're going to forego their race, background, everything about them, and strictly stick to their classroom environments for this comparison, okay? So kids spend a majority of their time and existence in school. So inherently, schools become one of the greatest resources to meet the needs of kids. So let's take these boys, for example, okay? Boy number 1 sits in a classroom that's clean and well-maintained. The layout is untraditional, and it promotes collaboration. The lighting in the room is varied and warm. Colors in the room are light but calming, and there's several plants sprinkled throughout the space. Okay? Now, boy number 2 sits in a classroom that's in less than stellar condition, could use some paint touch-ups and a mop, okay? Now, the layout is one that's traditional rows, all facing one direction with singular focus being the key. The lighting in the room is also singular, overhead fluorescence that can be kind of harsh. Colors in the room are bright, but intense, and there's not a single sign of plant life in sight. Now, before I move on, I want you to notice something about this comparison. These 2 boys could be going to school in the exact same type of building. Never did I mention style or newness, floor-to-ceiling windows, funding, income levels, community, nothing. This is an apples-to-apples comparison. The only difference between the 2 are very intentional decisions. But these decisions can have as much as a 25% impact, positive or negative, on a student's behavior and performance over one school year. Now, compound that over the 11 to 13 years that typical kids are in school, and can you imagine the trajectory of boy number 2? His peers, the way he sees himself, how they grow up and become parts of their community? I hope so. So, what are these decisions that I called out? I made comparison to layout, lighting, color, and plant life. So what is it about getting these things right so instrumental in making sure that our environments are supplying us our needs? Let's break it down. So let's start with layout. The layout of a space dictates its function, efficiency, and atmosphere. Think about your living room. Now, the focus may be the TV, but your sofa and your chairs kind of all face the coffee table, right? This is great for when there's at least 2 people in the room and they want to have a conversation. This layout promotes a level of coziness, if you will. So instead of a classroom that has its desks all in a row, facing the instructor or the back of their classmate's head, let's instead imagine a classroom where students are grouped together, facing each other, likely in small pods, where collaboration and interaction can be the focus. This makes space for students to see themselves within each other, have more meaningful interactions, to work through their differences and see each other as human, like in our living rooms. Okay, now lighting. Yes, natural lighting is the holy grail of our built environments. It helps the body's circadian rhythm stay in sync, which improves mood and well-being. But natural lighting isn't always available or accessible in places like schools or factories or even the DMV. So in design, we're taught that expertly placed and colored lighting is the next best alternative. Now, correct color temperature and various layers of lighting can have the same effect, but they also have the ability to add dimension to a space, create a level of depth, or even invoke energy into a room. Okay, so now color. Color. Color theory is a science used by designers on a regular basis. The psychology of how color affects our mood and our actions is a powerful tool that can make or break the design of a space. The colors in classroom have the power to stimulate concentration or a student's mood. For example, in studies, it's been shown that cooler colors have the ability to promote information retention. Warmer colors have the ability to invite feelings of comfort, happiness, interaction. Now, bright and intense colors are great for younger preschool or elementary school age kids because it inspires activity. And that brightness and intensity should decrease as students age to allow the brain to focus. So, On to my favorite part, plants. And if you know anything about me or nothing at all, you're just looking at me, you know I love plants. Okay. Plants are not only just amazing things in decor, they make spaces look beautiful with their vibrant color and their organic textures. They also are the most amazing air purifiers. And our air quality is highly important to our well-being. The better our air quality, the more productive we are, and the more positive we are. But plants also have the ability to improve our stress levels, reduce anxiety, they even reduce headaches. These are all amazing things needed for any environment, but especially those like schools. So, when you are imagining yourself or even walking through life, going into all types of environments on a day-to-day basis, whether it's your job or schools or the grocery store or gym, or even the places that you visit infrequently, like a hospital or a hotel or the DMV. All of these environments have an effect on our feelings, whether you're thinking about it or not. But there's this person behind each environment that made very intentional decisions that affect our feelings. So when it comes to those places that we have very little control over, whether the ability or the money to change how they look, think of those places that you do have control over. Your homes, our classrooms. You need to think about the fact that you're not only affecting the way they look, you're creating a setting that's the backdrop for core memories. Find the beauty in the things that surround you every day and dwell there. Thank you.